What's up, everybody?
Hi, welcome back.
Episode 33.
Are we going to keep saying the numbers up to 10 million?
Yeah, I think so. I think people like it. That way you know if you're watching it in the right order.
That's true.
If you're listening to it. Podcasts are weird because sometimes if you go in like the older ones, like you want to listen backwards, but it wants to play them forwards.
I do like a backwards moment.
I wish there was a backwards setting.
It used to be that way. They changed it recently. I like to listen to a lot of podcasts as I'm falling asleep.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're already like at the end, you know, like if you just started with this one, hi, welcome.
Hi, welcome.
But it would be cool for it to play in reverse order.
Welcome. We're a brother-sister duo from Portland, Oregon.
I'm gay.
I'm straight.
Yeah, and
And this is PDX's with my shitty dating choices.
Yeah, mostly hers, but mine too.
You know what was crazy was I was telling a story, relatively recent. And it was the time I went to jail, which we'll share that eventually.
Oh, yeah. I don't know
Nothing
if we
crazy.
talked about that one yet.
No, we haven't. I've wanted to, and you haven't, because you said it makes me
We can talk about it. We'll talk about it today.
Horrible.
I mean, yeah, when you're starting a new job and you're meeting like new people.
Okay, but so I went to jail. They did book me. I had to cut the underwire out of my bra.
That's crazy. I love that somebody figured that out. And it was enough of a problem where they were like, oh, yeah, we got to get the
I mean, I called my own bluff on that one. They're like, do you have any metal on you? And I was like, what about my bra, sir? And they slid scissors across, and he's like, down the hallway. And I was like, what? And he goes, you either give me the bra or you cut the wire out.
So is the wire so you like don't pick your locks?
Don't stab someone to death.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Jeez, Ryan.
Well, I don't know. How are you killing somebody with a bra underwire?
That's actually, it's really sharp.
Oh, I don't know anything about bras.
It's a little, you know.
I guess that's
from
true.
the bottom, you know. If you watch the podcast, I mean, that sounds weird when you say that, right? When you watch our live stream on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could watch on YouTube. You could listen. I mean, there's a lot of different ways.
Well, if you knew me, you would know. I haven't worn a regular bra probably since like your wedding, maybe.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's like a 2-in-1 moment. Why would you need like that's what's crazy to me. So when I see people who carry around the Victoria's Secret bags, like, man, I know your titties is hurting.
Oh, why?
There's a reason why girls say like as soon as they either leave the function or as soon as they get home, the first thing you do is take your bra off. Because all it does is it like perks them up.
Oh, I see.
Gives you
and
cleavage.
It's probably not comfy.
No, it's
That'd
not.
be like if a guy had to like prop his balls up all day. If guys just like their balls were just literally at the top of their pants.
Yeah, or if you had to wear jeans tight enough to where everyone could see your camel tail.
Yeah, I guess
you know what I mean? Like it's painful, depending.
I feel like girls always have a hard time with like the heels, the bra, all the things. I mean, I know some people like it. You know, heels make you look taller and make your calves look good. But
it definitely takes practice.
It's painful.
Like here, if you're listening, girls and guys, if you have an event that you're going to, whether you know you want to wear some heels or guys, dress shoes hurt. Brand new shoes. If you have an event, wedding, you trying to fucking chop it up on the dance floor. You trying to get hyphy. You trying to river dance. Like it doesn't matter. You have to break your shoes in. You have to break your shoes in.
Greg always wants to bring some dumbass shoe on a trip, on a walking trip. We're going to London. He's like, oh, I'll bring these brand new shoes.
I'm going to break in my docks while we're there.
Yeah. He gets these really cool ones that have like different artists, like, you know, whatever. And, he'll want to wear them. They're like work. And I'm like, yo, these are like clogs. These are like wooden shoes at this point. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like the back of the heel, that part gets worn out, like the side of your foot. Like also the padding, you know, the sole isn't broken in. So that takes a little while to get your foot adjusted.
Well, they make socks. If you're out there and you need to break some docks in, they make socks that have padding and all the right places. Oh my, yes. Copyright.
Wait, like what do you...
Well, they make socks that have like more reinforcement on like the back of the heel or where your Achilles tendon would be.
Also, like maybe they could make a shoe that doesn't suck ass. Everybody tries to sell me on Doc Martens. Like but once you break them in.
Ryan, they're going to get canceled. A lot of people who live in Portland like Docs.
I guess after a while you break them in and they're comfy. But I went and bought some shoes. I was like at a Finish Line or Champion shoe. I don't know, some shoe store in the mall. And I was getting a brand new pair of shoes. And I swear to God, it felt like I was walking on like glass, like hard concrete. There was no padding. And they look cool. And he's like, oh, we'll just get some new insoles. I'm like, why would I do that? Buying a shoe.
Right.
Oh yeah, but they look really nice. I always get new insoles. I take the ones in the shoe out and put my. What the fuck am I buying a shoe for?
Well, that's like girls who get bathing suits. It's per piece. It is per fucking piece.
Who's
if you
just
didn't
getting
know
the top?
that. Exactly. Who's getting I remember
That's wild. That's fucked up.
back in the day. I feel so fucking old when I say that. But like 2000s, I remember shopping for bathing suits and I remember going in the Roxy store. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Fact check that, baby. Going in the Roxy store and I could tell you the bathing suit. It was the traditional Roxy fucking flowers. And one side was teal and white and the other side was like a reverse print. Now that I'm an adult and I work for real money and you like know how much shit costs.
Yeah.
That bathing suit was $45 a piece. So we tried on this suit.
Yeah,
I have
weird.
a juicy booty. As a kid, you like haven't really come into your body yet. So you have to like find stuff that you feel comfortable in. Found a suit, $90. As a parent, like your kid's crying because, not because I need it, right? I'm crying because I'm putting stuff on that doesn't fit me that you're just like, what the fuck? But it's the same thing like with the underwire bras. You compare those to like Docs, right? So the underwire literally like perks you up and gives you cleavage. But for what? At this point, I'm not false advertising. I got a juicy booty. Our mom said, and I quote, that I have athletic boobies and that some boys like those.
Yeah.
I thought that was bullshit. Oh my God, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird.
Man, I'm happy in 2024 having a juicy booty though. Let me tell you.
I feel like I was watching The Sopranos recently and I just find it funny because everybody had fake boobs. Mm-hmm. And that was like the thing, like 2000s. Like everybody just had fake tits. And they look weird now. I don't think they looked weird at the time.
No, not at all.
It was just like the thing where you had this like really skinny lady and just huge, weird boobs.
There's a lot of girls, especially with social media, that post their breast reductions. So it's like a girl in a tank top and like they look so painful. Like she's just got boobs that go down literally to like her belly button. And this girl was in this green bandeau, which is just like a green top, like just a fucking headband strap all the way around. Cut to her after her surgery and she's in this top and she looks great and she's so happy. And you just look at the comments and it's like, crime against nature, and you're just like, God forbid.
I don't understand. Like, first of all, it's not like you had a chance to get them titties. Second, boobs are probably not great to have. Big ones. You know what I mean? Where it's just like hurt your back. Probably not comfy. I mean, sure, for like sexual things, it's great. But like, what do you do with them when you're not doing boob stuff?
And also, like for me, like having a fat ass is I just have to find clothes that fit. And now what's trendy, because we talked about this before, that was actually such a good topic when we talked about stuff in high school.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my bestie boo felt personally attacked. I'm sorry, bestie. You know who you are. Skechers aren't bad. We didn't mean it.
Oh, yeah. We're so sorry.
You wore them in school.
I'm sorry, Doc
I'm
Martin.
sincere. Ryan is not sincere. I'm sincere. So for me, I have to find pants that are smaller around the waist. But now, newsflash, buddy. Yeah. You wear whatever. And if your pants gape at the waist, you wouldn't get publicly roasted like you would when I was younger. But if you have big boobs, like, man, imagine if you had a full breast and you want to go for a run.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, that's what I did at my last job was like outfitting women. And it's like, so that's challenging, right? Like thinking about having that even be a thought. Like I have to have a bra that literally, as girls would say, like industrial bra. And they used to be really ugly. Ugly. Girls always used to talk about how it was like a tan backpack.
Beige.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's also another thing too, is like the bestie, we were talking about the sliding scale of sizes, like Target. They're a big one where.
Bad? Target bad?
They don't. Yes.
Target bad.
Ooh, bad. Well, it's the sizing. It's like, why can't you go in and buy something that's, correct me if I'm wrong, I think 2X is their biggest size.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so like.
That's everywhere though. Like every time I try to go buy shirts, like some places don't have more than like a 2X.
Yeah, but then once you get like, there's no additional size in that cute little denim cargo skirt you want.
Right.
You cross over into business casual. So I went to Goodwill with a couple of my friends and like my bestie, who's, full figured, she's like, hey, everything over here is business casual. And we just kept kind of laughing because everything was like a pair of slacks that you're going to an interview. There's a lot of button ups. There's a lot of weird fabrics. And so like, just make the next size. Make like 1 or 2 sizes instead of doing like polos and like button downs.
I think a lot of it is like what they sell, and I don't know. I would like to think that they have like a log of what sells or not, but sometimes they're probably just like, who gives a shit? Like,
clothing companies have said one of the most popular sizes that sells out, unless you're like a niche brand,
right?
XL.
Yeah.
Fastest size that sells out. Why? Because girls my size want them. This guy goes on a rant. It was really funny.
Yeah.
He talked about how he's like, weightlifter, and he's like, man, all you girls out there, you guys all buy the oversized tee. He's like, I want the regular tee. He's like, I can't go a size down and crop it. It's too small. He's like, I need give me my XL.
But it's just like shoes. I mean, like you go to like Nordstrom Rack or something, and they got a couple big ass pairs of 14, 15, but even like 11, 12s, you can still find those. But like, I feel like for shirts, you go into stores and it's like 1X, 2X maybe. And then anything beyond that, they're like, fuck you.
Well, that always reminds me of Mean Girls. 135. Excuse me, do you have this in the next size up? Sorry. We only carry sizes 1, 3, and 5.
Oh,
you could try Sears, though. I could probably do the whole movie. That and Superbad. I could probably do those from start to finish.
Did you watch the musical Mean Girls?
No.
It was all right.
Here's the thing. If you're the ultra fan that I am, I thought it was really weird because if you haven't watched it already, RuPaul's Drag Race, All Stars, All Winners. Best season, arguably. Yeah. I keep it on repeat.
It's so good.
If you've been following the podcast for a while, I'm weird with TV shows. I literally just keep watching All Stars, All Winners. And they do the Christmas episode where RuPaul talks about how she had this, was joking about how she came up with the idea, but it's supposed to be like Mean Girls crossed with like Christmas. And so there's a couple different things that RuPaul basically mushed together to have him do this acting challenge.
Hey, bitch, it's Christmas.
Yeah. And then, but do you know what the girls say to that? They go, this is not a musical.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and so then I find it weird that Mean Girls comes out and it's a musical.
Because there's a Broadway. That's why. It's a Broadway or off-Broadway or off-Broadway musical.
Well, because that's how I heard.
That's why I think they took that and then turned that into.
Adapted it.
Well, and I think, I don't know with like copyright, I don't know if they're just like running out of shit to do, but I feel like they're like, hey, we got this Broadway thing and all these people and songs, so we could just make that into a movie. It's like when they did Hamilton on Disney, because it was so hard to get tickets, and then it was COVID, and they were like, we'll just let all these people see it. Mm-hmm. We've seen it twice. Mm-hmm. Maybe once or twice. Man, we saw Hamilton and these people would not shut the fuck up in the theater in front of us. They knew all the things. And then they kept like, every time there was like a break, they'd be like, oh yeah, well, he wasn't as great in that act. And I was just like, shut the fuck up. Also, I have another thing that I hate. When you're in a goddamn theater, not a movie theater, movie theaters, yes, but like, don't put your fucking jacket on the back of your seat because then it's in my legs. I had this old lady was in front of me. This was a different time, but she had her jacket and it's like on my legs. And so I was just picking it up and I was just like putting it on her seat. I like didn't care, but I was just like, do you not realize that your jacket is on me and it's a hot, tiny ass theater? Put the jacket on the floor. Why did you bring a jacket in the first place? Like, I hate that shit in public spaces.
Yeah, you didn't pay $5 for the coat check, Susan.
I have a fucking sweatshirt and I didn't hang that on the back of my thing. I just hate people with lack of like self-awareness.
Oh yeah.
Like, and then she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." After I like put her whole jacket up on top of the seat.
It just fell over on her.
But it just like, I get so annoyed because like, it's like Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is also on that episode. But it's like, I don't want to like have a thing. Excuse me, miss, your jacket is on my legs. Oh, so sorry. You know what I mean? Can't you just go in your brain, go, oh, maybe I shouldn't hang my jacket on the back of my seat because it's literally on the dude behind me's lap.
Idiots.
But people like don't pay attention.
Nope, idiots.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, same vein, is we were talking the other day about ambulances and people. This is one of my worst pet peeves. When there's an ambulance, people always try to get behind the ambulance, you know? And like, we've all seen Die Hard 3, okay? Where they call there's a murder here. And then you like ride behind the ambulance. I hate that shit.
That was me the other day, though, and not intentionally, but I was the good Samaritan, so I was slowing down and waving people back into their lanes.
When everybody pulls over, right? I fucking hate when everyone's kind of pulling over for an ambulance, whatever. And then people don't let you get back to where you were, right? There's always some fucking douchebag that's like, oh, it's my chance to get ahead of everybody. No, we are pulling over for an ambulance or a car, police car. Everybody needs to get back in the same lane they were in before. We just paused. Nobody needs to be mixing shit up. I hate that shit.
So I was driving earlier. Side tangent. I had 2 flat tires today, so that was the adventure. And then, hey, ladies and people who don't know about cars, don't want to stereotype just to ladies. People who don't know about cars, they gotta like turn the lug nut with the hands first before they go in with the little gun.
Oh yeah.
Broke 2 of them.
This fucking
broke
place.
fucking 2 of them.
They
on
fucked
one
up my
tire.
car too.
Well, and the guy goes, God bless him, right? This poor unfortunate soul. And he just was like, well, we got a sign up there that says we're not responsible for lug nuts, but I can't send you off the lot with this. And I looked at him and I was like, no shit, I can't drive the car if it's missing 2 lug nuts on a tire. Anyways, as I was on my way there, if you live in Portland, you know what Hawthorne Street is. And at the end of Hawthorne, where Porque No is, God, the best tacos. Good. Expensive. Very good. And right in that area, I could hear like an alarm. And I didn't know if it was like a business alarm. Assumed it was kind of like a fire alarm. I could see 1 police officer. And then as I turn, there's 2 more that fly by. So then I'm away from Hawthorne on one street where there's a boulevard, like a bike crossing where you can't turn left or right. And I go to pull over because I see 4 police officers with their lights on coming straight down. And I know they can't, there's full lane of traffic. They can't go anywhere. So I know they're going to come down our side. So I'm like praying to the guy in front, please move. Because I knew I had to go. Like I was genuinely like towards the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
And like, they're by a whisper. Like I couldn't believe it. And then same thing, people just cut out in front of you. And then
that shit should be illegal.
I'm sure it is.
It's like, okay, it's the same with like merging and stuff. It was like, we all have to get over for this ambulance. And then when we get back, you don't get a prize for getting back over, like, unless you need, like, your daughter's in the ambulance and you need, sure.
Right.
But no, that's not happening. But
I think the worst is what a lot of people don't know is if you have 2 lanes and someone wants to walk or someone wants to turn.
Yeah.
If you're the waiver and you're telling this person that they're able to either walk across 4 lanes of traffic or turn out and they get in an accident, I'm pretty sure you're at fault. Because
you gave them the right of way.
You can't tell that this person next to you is going to stop. Although the thing that gets me is the crosswalks. The forced crosswalks. Yeah. When I can just sense a car coming by, I'll stick my hand out and I'll like wave my hand around so they know that there's people in front of my car because I really don't want to watch that happen.
Every crosswalk in Portland should have the flashy yellows. So on MLK, it's really bad. 82nd's really bad. These are street names in our city. But some of them have the flashy, hey, person wants to cross. And then some don't. And it'll be like the craziest fucking street. And people are getting smushed all the time. Why wouldn't you just put a little pole in with the little things that flash? And like also people like cross the street when they shouldn't, whatever. But like in these specific areas, I'll see people coming and I'm just like, oh God, please don't let this person next to me hit this person. Because like also you're like driving and you're like, oh, there's a car stop literally in the middle of the road. And people go, and they just keep going. When you should go, oh, weird. There's a car stop. Let me slow down.
Is it someone? Do you have your flashers on? That's another thing. I am a healed person now, but before, if you stopped in front of me and you put your flashers on, I would get out of the car and I would open hand smack you in the face. Like, I don't care. I'm sorry. People don't understand that you put other people at risk when you just decide you want to wait for someone to come out of Target downtown and you just put your flashers on. I'm literally behind you. Like there was
Yeah,
I barely saw your brake lights.
Don't go to New York because I mean people double park there. It's wild. My
much-
friend will be like, "Hey, I'm just gonna go in and do this thing real quick. Do you mind sitting in the car?" And I'm like, "For what?" "Oh, well, if they come, you can move it." "Why? You're still gonna get a ticket." "Oh, sorry, I have friends and I'll get it."
I think it's just
I don't want to deal with that shit. That gives me anxiety. Just a thought of sitting in the car. "Oh, I'll just pull over in this yellow real quick. I'm just going to run in." I'm already like, I hate that shit. "Oh, just wait." No. I'd rather you drive around and find a decent parking space.
Yeah, why don't you just drive around the block while you wait for them? Like, how does that make sense?
Shit. That gives me so much anxiety.
Yeah, as much as I would love New York, like I would love to go. Never
it's
been.
so fun though.
It would be so great. However, it is all the things I do not like.
Well, you don't have to drive there.
I don't want to walk a long ass
Oh,
way.
it's
That
so
sounds
fun.
great. That sounds
Okay, here's
crazy.
the thing. With New York, there's lots of stuff to see. So here you're like, "Oh, we'll walk up to 7-Eleven." There's literally no shit to look at. It's just, "Oh, wow, someone's shitty yard." Out there's so much going on. So many places. The architecture is great. You just also don't have a car as reference.
Right.
So
I guess that's true.
you just go, I guess I'm walking, and you just do it. I remember...
45-minute walk. Okay.
But like there were times, okay, so I was there and I didn't realize that they had like an unlimited weekly pass and I would go for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. If you're going to any city, they probably have a 2-week unlimited Metro card or whatever. Well, my fucking stupid friend didn't tell me. So I'm literally buying a bus ticket or train ticket with the transfer. And I'm like, all right. And you can only do the transfer for like one time. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to take this train to this train. Then I got to get here and get on the bus. So I could just walk to this train and then I could do this. And so I'm doing all this math in my head, not realizing I could literally just be like, boop, 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 boop. See, who gives a shit?
That sounds like quantum physics
It
to
was
me. Like,
fucking
that
horrible.
sounds insane.
And I think it was like my third time out there. And I'm out there for like weeks, you know. And we were gonna go do like something at a bar, and I was like, "Well, I only have a transfer, or whatever." And I was telling him all my shit, and he's like, "Well, just get the weekly pass." And I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, just buy a weekly pass." And I'm like, so mad because I'm literally just walking. I mean, wasn't horrible, but like there were times where I'd get off. He lived in Queens, so you have Manhattan and then Brooklyn and then Queens is so. It's a long fucking train all the way there. And then I would have to take a bus to my friend's house. And you had to have a transfer. Otherwise, I'm paying like $2. I mean,
this
it wasn't horrible.
already too complicated.
But I was just like...
You're not selling
I
me.
could have just got an unlimited shit. It's not that expensive. And I could have just been like a fucking Subway king out of my way.
Subway.
Yeah. But
Look, when it comes to New York, if I have to look up a fucking map on public bathrooms that I can visit in New York, you're not selling me. That's the most popular, I'm pretty sure, popular map that's looked up. I think is it a Google Doc? This girl has something that she made, it's the most referenced map in the world, apparently. By whatever standards. I'm sure
you have to kind of plan out your piss and shit.
You're not winning me.
Or just shit in the street like everyone else. But like I just love New York. I haven't been in a while. I do want to go back. It's especially in the summertime. There's always something to do. But like they didn't have like DoorDash they had Seamless, and that was like the early baby version.
Pandemic
of that.
changed all of that, man.
But I remember
That's
you
insane.
could in New York you could literally get food anytime. You could get anything, like no matter what. There was some shit open.
Well, that's what they talk about in Friends. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna move out to the suburbs?" It's like, "But what if you want Chinese food at 3 a.m.?"
No, that is literally like the best shit ever. I love that, and I just would be at my friend's house and just order some shit online, and they'd deliver it.
Well,
I'd come back here, and there was literally nothing.
Right.
They had nothing, delivery, nothing. You could maybe do the 24-hour McDonald's, but
maybe.
I just remember coming back to Portland, and I was just like, "This city's stupid." Not that I need Chinese food at fucking 1 a.m, but like
It's just the idea.
yeah. So I'm like,
It's cool now because I've lived in my neighborhood for a while. Lived in the same neighborhood with the bestie. She moved to New York when I moved to San Diego. We'll also touch on that.
Yeah.
And when I moved back, I lived maybe a block and a half away from where I lived before. So the entire time I lived in this neighborhood, I always had the fantasy of, being able to walk with, my partner and being able to go pick a restaurant and sit and eat. And for the longest time, we didn't do that. Like, I date guys, and, it's either you get the lovely, like, hey, I'm going to take you to my favorite place, which I really enjoy. Or, we did a lot of, like, ordering in and hanging out.
Right.
But I think we've become okay with that because of the pandemic. You're just kind of like,
Yeah.
you're okay with just, like, a little takeout moment.
Also, people are fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And why would I want to go sit in some hot-ass, dumb restaurant when I, like, could just order in and watch fucking Dynasty?
Well, my favorite place that is no more was 24th and Meatball. They were my favorite place. We used to walk up there, and we would drink a little bit because this is the power move.
What happened to that place? It was so good. I wish businesses would just, like, I think it would be okay if you just tell people, hey, we're not doing great. I just want to post on our social media. We're not looking good. We're doing well. We're also, I don't know, we'll come up with a word. We're not doing great, you guys. If you just want us to stick around, come. Our food's fine. There's no rats here. But also, if you just want to come in a couple months, you might not get that fucking sub that you wanted.
Yeah, or if you don't tell us anything, we assume you have rats there.
No, I always hate that when you go like, oh, I'll go. There's a vegan Chinese place where we used to live. And Brian and I used to just be like, oh, yeah, we'll go. We'll just go. And then like a year would go by and we're like, man, I hope that place doesn't close down. But like we would never go. We probably get like 5 times the whole time it's been open. And every time we're like, oh, man, we got to go all the time. And then we're like, I'm always like, can you pull it up? Oh, it's still open. Okay,
it says open. Yeah, nothing worse than opening.
No help from
permanently closed. You're like, no.
If only I would have known.
We mentioned it last time. I actually had a good giggle when I went home and thought about how I compared him to being Pete Davidson to now Voldemort. I was literally like in the shower at home, like, damn, bitch, that was funny because it's true. Yeah, because when he, who shall not be named, and I separated, like I just had the hardest time because what I don't think people understand is when someone lives with you or you guys share the ecosystem, you're living with the ghost of them. It's fucking miserable.
Oh, when they leave?
Yeah. It doesn't matter how I rearrange my room. I still feel like it was too similar to like when we were together or just like my living room, because my living room, as some of you know, you have like one good spot for lighting where it doesn't fuck with the TV.
Right.
I think it would make me feel even more out of place if like stuff was intentionally super different. Yeah, because right when everything was still fresh, the third time around. Yeah, I would go, like, I think I went for a week and did like stuff that reminded me of things we used to do together. So I was like, okay, like, you a strong ass bitch, you can do this yourself. And I went to 24th and Meatball. They were closed. I cried in the street, bitch. I cried. I just was in the car and I was like, this does feel intentional.
Well, I feel like there's some power in that. You're kind of reclaiming, okay, we used to do this thing together. I fucking hate this guy. But I want to go because I don't want the memory of that thing to just be us.
Right.
I want to overwrite that with like my shit.
Well, there's trauma and stuff like that, because that's how it is for like me and music. Like there are certain songs that, you know, it's like with your partner, you can share your favorite little, you're like, here's this little pearl. This is my favorite song here. And there's certain songs I hear that I have removed from my like song because I'm that crazy ass bitch who has like one playlist and I just kind of shuffle it. I don't need 9 million playlists. I'm weird. I know. But something will come up that will kind of, it's almost like I've just jumped into cold water. Yeah. Is how that feels. And now I'm to the point where, you know, we're moving through it. Through it. So I just have to kind of sit and be uncomfortable. And then I laugh because I'm like, oh, bitch, I love this song. That was with Doja Cat. I couldn't listen to her for a while because it just made me so sad because it reminded me of that
douchebag.
Yeah.
There's this one time, I don't know if I brought this up before, but there's this one time, there's that Robin song, Dancing on My Own. Okay, so I was digging this dude. We're hanging out a lot. I don't know if we went to the party together or if we were just there together, but I think it was always kind of cool to be able to like go back to his place after and hang out. Or go get food or pizza or something afterwards. Like it's always just kind of fun. He was very like sex oriented and so like easily distracted. So he was always kind of like looking for the next best thing. But we were there and we were hanging out and all of a sudden he was starting hanging out with this other guy. Totally fine. You know what I mean? We're not dating or anything. But like he started hanging out with this dude and they were like making out. And this fucking Dancing on My Own song started playing in real time, bitch.
You're watching?
In real time. This shit was exactly what I was going through in the moment.
Robin?
Yes. No, I was like literally dancing there, right? And I'm just like dancing. They're playing the song, and I'm watching these two guys kind of go at it. And I was like, wait.
What does she say in the song?
It's like basically like, I'm in
the corner.
Yeah.
Watching you kiss him.
No, like it was so great. And I'm sitting there and it almost made me laugh because like it was just so stupid. And I'm just like, wait, am I the person in this song? Is this literally happening right now? And then I just remember like, I was like, whatever, I'm going to fucking leave because this guy's fucking sucks. I called my friend Brian when I left and I was just like laughing because I was just like, dude, this is so crazy that this literally happened, you know, and we just laughed about it because he's like, yeah, the guy fucking sucks or whatever.
I mean, that's like the origin story of this podcast. Because one of the episodes I tell people to listen to that I get the most feedback from, aside from the Brazilian wax.
Oh, yeah, the Brazilian one's
man,
great.
that's so. If you're just joining us, pause this episode. Go listen to the Brazilian.
No.
Your podcast will bring you back to this exact spot. You'll feel caught up on the jokes. You'll feel included.
Yeah, fuck this episode. No, I'm just kidding.
The podcast episode I tell everyone to go back and listen to is the Donut Douchebag.
Oh, yeah.
So if you haven't, if you're just now joining us, you have a couple morsels you need to go back and listen to. Because a lot of people, it's one of the first episodes. It's like when you go back and watch like the original first episodes, you can hear like the rappers crinkling in the background. And like, I don't know how to speak into a microphone. Probably
We do
still
now.
Kind of.
I remember the first few episodes, I was like,
you'd reach your hand in front
the
of me.
sound needs to go into the thing to put it into my computer. And if you don't get the sound into the microphone thing, then nobody can fucking hear you.
But we talk about how I go on a date to Seattle and gave a blowjob in. That's the
It's
other
a good
thing
episode.
too.
It's a good episode.
I get a lot of feedback about that. A lot of people talk to me about like, I'm sorry. If you have a nice ass car and you've never had your fun bits in a parking garage, you need to question your life choices.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things to tell is that I almost got murdered on this trip to Seattle.
Yeah.
Like, it's a crazy story. I remember we kind of had a little connect moment after that when we weren't filming where you just were like, man, I'm so proud of you. That's like such a crazy story.
Yeah.
It really, verbatim, like really happened.
Allegedly he could have done it. But it's like, it's weird in those moments because he could go back and go, oh no, I wasn't going to. But in those moments that there's like a tiny sliver that somebody can cross into like, well,
let me tell you this. If you hear someone unclick their seatbelt, unclick yours too.
Yeah. You know what's side note? I always find it funny when they have the people on social media showing people how to like get out of, someone's in the back with a knife and they're like, okay, so you unclick your belt and then you're going to stick your hand in like this and then you're going to put your seat back. Like there's always these like self-defense videos where they always like give people tips and I'm like, dude, that never fucking happened.
Best intention. The one thing our mom taught me was, and this was before cell phones, because now if you just hold your phone out, you can just record someone. Like,
also true.
It's crazy, but she always said, if someoe's following behind you, turn around and ask them what time it is. That way they know that you're there. You now know what
time to stab you, bitch.
Ah! You know what I mean? Most important thing is just being aware of your surroundings. Yeah. Like, get in your car and lock the door. Lock the door. You sit down, lock the door. That's it. I can impart one thing on you. Sit down, lock the door.
Paranoid from a CSI episode where there was a guy in the back seat who he like shoots the person. This shit came out in like 98 or something.
There were a couple different ones. Regular CSI, Nick gets kidnapped. Yeah, Nick's gone. Spoiler from like 97 or whenever this was around.
I'm always like, nobody's in the back seat. Okay, I'm good. I'll be goddamn you try to pop out of my, wouldn't be that hard. But I just like don't like the idea of just being like getting in the car, starting the car. I would almost want to check the trunk, but I got a bunch of shit in there, so no one's hiding in there.
Yeah. Tote bags, grocery shopping bags. People want to know why true crime is so popular and like, okay, CSI didn't come out in 97, did it? I just remember vividly knowing Grissom with Mom.
Oh, yeah.
Just watching those episodes. And like, now that I'm an adult, I'm like, damn, bitch, that was graphic. And you were like 12, 13,
Yeah.
just like, it's Thursday, time to watch CSI with
Yeah, they
Mom.
always had like the craziest stories and
Well,
stuff.
and come to find out, like I guess the best example would be like CSI Miami, right? CSI Miami, they got like the test tubes,
Oh yeah.
looking at stuff. I have my friend who's a police officer, and he's like, that is absolutely
No,
not
there-
how it is at all.
There is a thing, I don't remember the name of it, but it's like people in courtrooms almost don't like hearing about that stuff because it's so boring and not what you see on TV. So you have people in court and then they come in, they're like, oh yeah, so I got the results from this test and blah, and everyone's like, boring.
Right.
But they glamorize it
Right.
so much on
Sorry,
the shows.
where's Horatio?
Yeah. Well, the lights, could you imagine you just go in, like I worked at a grain elevator for the government. That shit was so disgusting. Like it looked like it was built in like the 60s. So I could only imagine you go into these places and you're like, all right, CSI. And they're just like, yeah, we have wood panel on the
Well, there
fucking
was
walls.
a overwhelming amount of people, because it would be like my generation, like you want to say I'm a millennial, because I was born in 90, so you have a lot of people who wanted to go into forensic science, not like CSI.
Oh, yeah.
Not like CSI at all.
Yeah.
But we were led to believe it was.
Well, it's all like people would, if you just showed regular CSI shit, it'd just be like, boring. Bitch. Greg had never heard of the show Bones. Ever.
Pause.
No, we were watching.
Booth? He don't know who fucking Booth.
No,
How does Greg like men and he doesn't know who Booth?
He doesn't even know what the show Bones is.
With Deschanel?
Yes, so we were watching New Girl.
Bitch.
He kept pointing. There was another girl in the show, and he's like, "Oh, that's her sister." And I was like, "No, it's not." And so I pulled it up, and I was like, "Yeah, it's Emily from Bones." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "The show Bones." I never really watched a lot of it, but like, I was like, "The show Bones," and he's like, "I don't know what you're talking." Like, he fucks with me a lot too. He'll pretend he doesn't know, but he literally said, I have never even heard, I don't know what this show is about. And I was just like,
God.
the show was on for like 8 years or some shit.
That show had the same power as like Legally Blonde, where you had girls who were like, I'm going into forensic anthropology now, baby. I don't know how to spell it, but I'm going to do it.
But I just thought that was so funny because I was like,
for those you just unlocked a new hyperfixation show. All Stars, All Winners. Who is that?
Yeah.
I'm going to start with Bones. It's so good. They call her Bones for a reason because she's the best in her field. And so then she gets back. The very first episode is her coming back. And they're like, the Smithsonian needs your help. And she's
okay.
like, Bones, I'm on the way.
and is her name Bones?
No, but that's what Booth calls her.
Oh, I
so
see.
the
Okay.
show is like CSI,
Yeah.
but more about their relationship
Yeah.
because, man, those two had some chemistry.
Yeah. Bones or...
Oh, man. You wanted them
Yeah.
to. You watch it and you're like,
Your
please.
bones, yeah.
Please. I mean, that's kind of like Avatar The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
All 3 seasons, you're like, just kiss Katara. I don't care your age. Just kiss her. Like, please.
There's a few shows that we watched, like Who's the Boss? And there's some shows, even like Friends, where you're just like... well, I love Friends. I always hate how Rachel is like, I want Ross. And then Ross is like, okay. And then she's like, oh, but you did this one little thing that I hate. And then they're both single. And I'm like, you bitch. And I get it. Like, she's got her, hard lines. But every time she's like, oh, I miss Ross. I just want Ross. And then he's like, okay, bitch, I dumped that bitch. And now we can be together. And she's like, oh, but you didn't do this one thing. And so now I hate you.
That's life, baby. That's life. Do you know the Grinch takes place on a fucking snowflake? That's like this video went viral because he's like arguing with his daughter about how she's trying to tell him that the beginning of the Grinch is like, you come in on that snowflake. And he's like, no, it's not. And it's just like, he goes back and watches it. And it's quite your whole childhood.
But also like in Men in Black, they pan out and you're like, the galaxy's on Orion's belt. And at the end of the movie, they pan out and you're like, or they go in, or I don't remember what they did, but then you're like, oh, that's weird because you're like in a thing. I don't know. You're just
like Inception, pre-Inception.
they're like, oh no, actually you're in Orion's belt right now. Haha. And you're like, That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the call's coming from inside your house.
Yeah. Sometimes they just, I don't know, they have the dumbest shit. Like, especially ends of shows. Like Game of Thrones, I fucking hate. I hate the people that made the show. I'm sorry if you're listening, you love our podcast, and like we love your support. I fucking hate Game of Thrones now.
Well, here's the thing. You know what? I have the perfect analogy for you. That's like if you have really, really good sex and right before you think you either might finish or get to the point where you're like told that you can't finish yet, so you want to.
Yeah, they
and
puke
then it's
on
just
you.
Yeah, and then you see and then there's a fucking Starbucks can in the middle of what happened?
Starbucks cup.
Yeah, and then there's a Starbucks cup in the middle of like the last season.
Yeah.
It's just there's a whole lot of
Well, those little production things I don't necessarily mind because like you might have had like 2 hours in between, or you might have showed up on set, or maybe they're doing a reshoot. So some of those little things I'm like, all right, it's fine. Like you can go and get rid of those things too. So somebody might have been like, fuck, dumb bitch left her Starbucks cup, but they're like, it's going to cost us $5 million to get rid of it. So I'm just fucking leave it in there. But like, I don't ask the questions on the show if you're not going to answer them. Same with like The Last Jedi, Star Wars. I fucking hate that movie. Come for me. I hate that movie. Because in the first one, they're like, Rey's parents, and oh, it's Finn and Rey, and oh, don't you care about Snoke? And then in the second movie, they're like, and no, we're not going to fuck that person, and we're not going to answer that, and oh, that's some dumb shit. It's like, why are we asking the questions if you're not going to give us a good reason? Like Game of Thrones are like, yeah, we built up this whole thing for like the whole show. Yeah, they're dead. They're all done. And you're like, what? And then they had an episode where it was so dark you couldn't even see. Did you watch it?
No.
There was an episode, it was like the second episode, and there was like ice time, and they're like fighting the ice people, whatever.
Man.
We were watching it on like a hotel TV, and we were like, what the fuck is that? You could not see like half of the episode.
Oh,
It was
man.
like dark blue and black, and all this shit happened, and we were just like, who is in charge?
See, you could get me on the fantasy game if there's someone out there up to the challenge. Now that we understand I have violent late stage diagnosed ADHD, I might be able to sit for a fucking Lord of the Rings movie that's apparently 9.5 hours.
That was fun. Yeah, I mean, like
Fun is relative.
We watched it in a couple days.
I'm not a medieval girly. It's not for me, and I laughed really hard because Georgia said it in My Favorite Murder. I almost shot coffee out of my nose when I was listening because she was like watching Game of Thrones, and then she talks about how, Karen's like, hey, how's it going? But then Georgia talks about how she goes, I can't with the sword fighting anymore. She's like, there's skeletons and they're clanging and they're fighting real people. And I just was like, oh man, that felt like a hug. Because there's just certain things that if you could get me to watch it, sure. But the people that I have tried to watch this before haven't made it the most fun. So for me, it's just, I'll watch Night Stalker documentary where you're showing me all the crazy stuff, but like you want to get to a little clang, I fucked your sister. Just kidding. Yeah. She was my sister. It's like, it's a lot.
Game of Thrones was cool at the time because, first episode spoiler, but they kind of kill off who you think is the main character. And then you're like, oh, weird, because that's not traditionally how you would do it. Mm-hmm. And then they would just like randomly like kill people. Well, not randomly, but they would just like kill people off. And so you never really felt safe with anybody. Mm-hmm. As the show kind of progressed, you got a little bit more comfortable. But I think part of that was like they would just kill people. And it was kind of weird that you would invest all this time into people and then they would just kill them. And you're like, all right.
What was the motorcycle show?
Oh, Sons of Anarchy? I never watched that.
Fuck that show. That show got to a point, it's the same thing where we're just talking about like the spiraling anxiety of loving these shows, not knowing what you're going to expect. I got to one episode, Sons of Anarchy, where like they got the thing back and they were all reunited and I went, click. That's the season finale to me, girl. That is the series. We just lock it up, tuck it in. And someone was like, man, that final episode. And I was like, no, you mean when everything was great and it was Christmas
Yeah,
and they had woke up Christmas morning, stockings were full. I get to the point. Now I'm on, medication.
Yeah.
Talk to your doctors. If you're waiting to make that appointment, like we said last time, make the appointment. The time will pass by anyways.
But like, I hate shows that you watch and then they just kill off the character. I hate when people die at the end of movies. I don't like watching people go through this journey and then they're like, no, I'm going to sacrifice myself for you. Fuck that. I'm not going to die. We're both going to fucking die on this mountain. I don't give a fuck. You got 4 kids at home, both dead.
I don't care who you kill. I don't show me. If you kill them, don't fucking touch the animal.
Oh, yeah.
If it's a horse or a cat or a dog, I will riot in the theater. Like there were a couple episodes of I Survived where they have like this animal that helped them. And you're like, at the end, they don't really tell you if they live or die. And you're like, I swear if that dog didn't live.
There was a movie called Dante's Peak with Pierce Brosnan in it. And there was a dog. Now all these people are like running away from this lava. Like the house catches on fire, this lava. And the dogs, we care more about the dog. We're like, oh God, jump.
Yeah.
I could care less if anybody got ate up by lava. But this dog, we were just like, oh no.
Yeah. Or what's the movie with the horse? The horse gets in quicksand.
Oh, Neverending Story. Bitch, we were just watching that the other day. That shit is sad.
There was some sad movies when we were a kid, man.
But
I was thinking about that the other day because everyone talks about, being born in 90, everything is recycling itself. And someone posted on social media the other day, I am this old where I remember the Rugrats Nickelodeon VHS being orange.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, that's not common knowledge. Like people don't know that. Just like how people don't know burning CDs is a thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was also telling that in my jail story.
That's just weird that okay, I understand when I was growing up, there was no internet for a while. We had magazines and books and whatever. Mm-hmm. And, people tell you shit. But now there's the internet, which is an unlimited resource for everything.
Which is crazy.
So the guy that arrested Justin Timberlake, he's like, I've never heard of NSYNC. I just don't understand how that's possible. How you could never have come across Justin Timberlake or NSYNC. You know what I mean? That just is wild because it's not like you have just magazines where you're like, well, I didn't read it in the magazine. You just
J14.
Yeah, you have Spotify and Apple Music and HBO Max and just the internet in general that you could pull up anything. And the fact that NSYNC wouldn't have come across your eyes at some point.
I mean, Justin Timberlake involved with the Janet Jackson, with Britney Spears. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's not just in sync. You would have kind of imagined
you would have done a ton of shit.
Man, I tell you though, the fucking best thing is what are we gonna do about the tour?
Oh yeah, that
meme
is
the world
hilarious.
Tour. I mean, talking about that would be our, we had the bestie and I had a mutual friend who got set up by a friend. And apparently this motherfucker had a wife and shit. Oh, no. And the dude, it just was just a whole thing, right? And so I fucking told her I would get justice for her by telling you guys what the fuck this guy said. All right? You hear this? This is me rubbing my grubby mitts together so I can tell you this fucking story. Our friend went out with this guy, went on a date. They ended up sleeping with each other. Found out from the mutual friend of all of ours who set him up with the guy that he's married. And when she asked him about it, she goes, hey, so do you have a girlfriend or you married? I can't remember exactly what she said, but she basically is asking him the question. And he goes, times are tough and that's kind of personal.
Dang.
So when you guys hear this episode, that shirt will be available to purchase for our podcast,
so
PDXs.
Funny.
Times are tough, and that's kind of personal. And now we say that shit all the time.
I love that.
You ask anyone anything,
I
times are tough, and that's kind of personal.
Yeah.
To which I said back, your personal is my personal, because like we said last time, your sperm lives inside of me for 7 days.
Yeah,
you are now a part of my soul for 7 days.
Yeah.
It is my business.
That's wild.
You want to hook your homie up. You want to get him a little something, something. Don't be with someone from fucking work. that we all know her and love her.
Yeah, I mean,
That's an outskirt friend. You give him like a D squad friend. You don't give him one from the bullpen.
It's just
what the fuck?
It's just wild that you and you'd be like, hey, I got this chick, because obviously you're looking for somebody that you vibe with, and
But
then you find out that it's like, oh, he's married.
Just like he who shall not be named. If he would have told me in the beginning that he hadn't finalized his divorce or what the fuck ever, I would have maybe pumped the brakes a little bit,
Yeah. Hi.
Bringing it back to the donut douchebag. It's the same thing I said in that episode. If you were just honest with me about having a girlfriend, I get to make the decision.
Yep.
When you don't tell me, you make the decision for both of us. Now we're all looking stupid.
You're trying to do some shady shit, and that way you have, you have your wife at home, then you're out here, and then if I'm cool, then you can vibe with me until you want to break it off with homegirl. But also, like, I don't know, you have to be honest with people. Right. You can't two-time people. Can't be doing no Miss Doubtfire shit, trying to date me and date somebody else. Fuck all of that. You ain't gonna Doubtfire me.
It's funny that you say that though, because but I guess it's pre-pandemic when you heard about people going on dates every single night, right? So you hear about girls who could have a different date every night. I'm going to be honest. That is very fucking real. Yeah. I could have a date every night if I wanted to. That's crazy. Right. That's crazy. I don't need you to pay for my old spaghetti factory enough for me to be sitting across from you and listening to your shit. Honestly, if I were to have a dating profile, it would say like, only has capacity for one day. I would be like the restaurant you have to write in the postcard to get the reservation.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm like, hours of operation are between, 9 and 9:30 p.m. Tuesday. Good luck.
Yeah. I don't like to make plans too far in advance either, because I know me, and I know they'll be like, oh yeah, let's do this in 2 weeks. And that day I'm just like, God damn it.
You have that. You have friends that are scheduled, and then you have friends like me who, when you work in retail or you do restaurant and you're not clocking in for a 9 to 5, you like don't speak the same language anymore. It's like you're drawing hieroglyphics for me and I don't understand what the first Tuesday of every month means. Right. So for me, it's like I have maybe 72-hour window where I'm like, okay, 72 hours. I've even told you about like filming and like when we can film. I'm like, I have to have a mental calendar of like the next couple days. I can't think about 3 Sundays from now.
We'll be like, hey, do you want to do next week? And then we're like, okay, potentially. We just like touch base a couple days before.
Just like if you were going to have a date.
Yeah. Hey, how you feeling? Because like there's times where we like go to film and I don't want to like squeeze out an episode that sucks.
Right.
Just because we're trying to get together. I'd rather you feel good. I mean, we try to be consistent, but also like whatever.
What's crazy is, if we're talking about flashback of our podcast episodes, I had a couple conversations with guys at work. Because you guys be the judge of this one, right? So if a girl has you blocked on her Instagram and you like maybe do a little search and her like name doesn't pop up and you're like, that's weird, right? You still gonna text her and be like, hey, what's up? I'm thinking about you.
Yeah.
So like, and you know what's hard is because if that person is listening, oh God, bless your soul. I got this message. And I just kind of like giggled because I saw the name pop down and I was like, do I know any of those other ones? Because I'm pretty sure I had his phone number blocked. And it wasn't just one, it was the multiple where it was like, hey, been thinking about you a lot lately. Hope you're good. And I just literally like, we passed my phone around almost like it was like the collection plate at work. And I just let people look at this conversation where he's just talking to himself. I haven't said anything since like December.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Guys probably just like, hey, just checking in.
No, or what the bestie said was, time frame. He probably got done dating someone else and wanted to see if you're still available.
Yeah,
she keeps me really humble. You know who you are, bitch. She keeps me real humble. He's like, oh, you're the girl of my dreams. And she's like, yeah, that's a copy paste from 10 other texts. And I'm like, damn, bitch, I'm right. I'm like, I like to think I'm the girl of someone's dreams.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had a couple friends pass away recently, so I like to circle in. And one of my friends passed away, and I literally texted him like the night he had passed away. And I was like, hey, man, I miss you. Hope you're doing good. And he said something back where he like hearted it. And then he passed away that night. And so now I'm like, if I think about texting somebody, if I'm thinking about somebody, I usually go, I'm going to reach out and just be like, hey, how's it going? Just because you never know. sometimes, obviously life gets us apart or whatever, but I'm always like, oh man, I was thinking about you. Hope you're doing good. Just because I don't want to not,
Right. You don't want to live with that regret.
Yeah.
But that's like, I was talking with a couple people at work just about like what happened with this guy and like why he wasn't prevalent in my life. And I said, because when you ask me out on a date, you kind of, it's not that you get one shot, but like, this is your audition, baby. Step up to the plate.
Yeah, Eminem did that 8 Mile song, bitch. You only get one shot.
Yeah.
Fucking, you could have took me out to fucking Old Spaghetti Factory.
You could have done anything, like literally fucking anything, man. So I was talking with a couple, guys I work with that are younger, and I basically told this kid, I was like, when you ask a girl out on a date, that date starts immediately.
Right.
And he goes, what? And I go, yeah, the date starts immediately. I go, maybe not for you, but for me.
Right.
I go, you ask me out. It's Wednesday. We're going out Saturday. I'm like, okay, great. Saturday. What's the weather going to be like? What am I going to have for breakfast?
Right.
Can I go work out? Am I going to work out the day before? I don't know if I want to work out before because my legs might be sore. Like, I don't want to have anything distract me from the date. And like, what's the hair wash schedule? Bitch, that date starts immediate time.
For her. I'm sure there's some girls that are like, oh shit, Cody wanted to go out with me. But I think most girls are probably like, this is going to be a thing. I want to make sure I'm,
Trust
looking
me.
Good, nails done.
Every girl has her hair wash schedule.
Yeah.
Every girl has the hair wash, what you're going to need for the date, and so just keep that in mind because for a guy or for someone like pursuing someone, that's valuable information because you ask me out on a date and you kind of now take me along with your excitement to take me out, bitch. Right. You want to, like, there's certain things you just got to, figure out what the girl's into. Like, I am still a fashion girly. Yeah. Like, I don't need to see, you're, like, if you're not a fashion guy, don't pretend to be. Because one time I had a guy send me, like, and I feel bad saying this, but no, I don't. Like, like the clowns that have the tuxedo that's really big and it's like too big fitting. And I had a guy send me a picture one time. He's like, oh man, your outfit's a good check out my fit. And it like almost like, it's like when you stick a stick into a bike spoke and you like get all like I just couldn't put it together. I like kind of thought it was a joke and it just was like, so like don't be what you're not. But like for me, if you were like, man, like, hey, what are you going to wear? Like, I was thinking about maybe wearing a red shirt. And like, if you want to like talk that out a little bit, like that just shows me that you're now thinking of me before the morning of our date when you think you're going to call me on the way to work. Like I'm just waiting around for you to finalize plans. It's like, be smart. All right. Know what you're chasing. All right. Know what the end goal is.
Listen to the past 10 episodes of this podcast because we cover what to do on dates a lot. Don't be dumb. Put some intention in it. Like, I don't know. I think guys just think that they can just show up and you're just like, oh my God, basic effort. Ugh.
I would say the pandemic changed a lot, right? But as you've pointed out to me before, I sound fucking crazy and I realize that. And when we film this podcast, right, we're in your basement. We're just like, it's a little key. We're just laughing. Right. And then sometimes I hear myself back. I'm like, damn, bitch, you sound fucking crazy.
That's why I'm here.
In the moment, I meant it.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you for complimenting his outfit at the sushi place. Fuck you. I'm cute. I'm here. This is about me. This is about me, not your stupid Balenciaga sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Pay my rent and all my bills for a month for that sweatshirt.
Yeah. Well, we learned a lot today. We talked about
underwires and bras.
We also learned that bathing suits are a la carte.
Yeah. Fucking ridiculous. Unless your suit costs double what mine does, I have to cover my titties. I have to buy the top.
I always find it weird that like guys get really upset with girls showing a lot of skin, or they're like, "Oh my God, your top!" But it's like beach rules, right? If you go to a beach and you see a girl with literally a top and a bottom, their stomach's exposed. Nobody's going, "Hey," you know what I mean? A guy could be in a Speedo and you're just like, "It's fine,"
right?
But like, girls are in bathing suits and nobody is like, hey, inappropriate.
Right.
Like, why adjacent to water is it okay? But in regular setting, it's not okay.
It's okay around sand.
Yeah. And
friction
water.
sand.
Yeah. A lake, fine. But if somebody's walking down the street with a bathing suit on, you'd be like, oh my God, my eyeballs.
I've always thought about that.
It's just so weird. It's like, why is the water make it okay? Mm-hmm. Same with dudes. A guy in a Speedo. I mean, still people like shit on people wearing Speedos, but I think it's cute. Like guys are like, hey, Speedo.
Well, hey, I mean,
Like-
we're in body positivity now where guys shorts trending, 5-inch short. And also the guys with the fucking crop tops. I love
Yeah,
it.
that
Now,
shit's great.
there's a couple of versions, right? Because I had a trainer and we used to call it the titty crop, right? Because she would cut it right through the label.
Right.
Right? We would actually call it the Chelsea crop because that was her name. We love you. You're moving away. Best of luck to you. We'd call it the Chelsea crop
Yeah.
because you would cut it right through the. She had a Mountain Dew one, baby. It was sliced through the through the logo, and we
Yeah.
were like, yes, we love it. And I have a bunch of shirts that are literally like shorter than my
Right.
my bra would be because that's the style.
Yeah.
So guys, are you? No, you're cutting it like at your waist. It's because they're cute. Try
Yeah.
it. Try it.
Yeah, fashion now, it's like you can just kind of get away with everything. It's great. But I always find that funny. Like, just because you're at the beach, I also hate that guys can take their shirts off and girls can't.
Right.
Not that me, because I'm gay and I don't like titties, whatever. But like, how is that fair? It's not fair. Girls should be able to walk around with the boobs out. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't trust
Conceptually,
men. Men are
yes.
gross, and they just be like, "Oh God," and you can't trust men to not be disgusting. But like, I don't know. It's just weird. We also talked about like when you're done dating, it's like the ghost of that person. I just think you should envision your ex walking around with a little candlestick, with like a little nightcap, just an old timey like 1600. Oh, hey, babe.
I just want to laugh and be like, no, I just think of it as having sex all the time. All right, bye guys. See you next week. Oh, do you have to clap?
Oh, yes. Ooh.
That was a good one.